welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young in the month of February. We had a hot January and we're going to have a hot February too. We got a great guest tonight. He's out in central Massachusetts. He owns a bunch of radio stations. I got him from good old Doc Siddell, who owns or works at and is a participant in a great radio show or shows out in central Massachusetts. But before we talk to him, got to read these incredible underwriters and then we will commence per usual. So, we have Equestrians Anonymous right down the street here on Route 58 in Carver. Quality Used Tack, saddles, equipment, show clothing, essentials, and gifts for the horse, hound, and human. We have the Riverside Cafe in Wareham, open 6 days a week, all except Wednesday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. They make the best breakfast from Boston to the Cape, and they have DoorDash delivery. We have RW Carpet and Flooring in Norton, covering floors for 50 years. We have Kingston Auto Body in Kingston. We have New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We have Salon Giovanni in Marshfield. We have Evan Young Realty, that's my brother Evan the Realtor, and we have DNS Auto Works and Collision Specialists in Abington, right up the road on Route 58, that way, I guess. And I want to thank you guys very much. And now, Mr. Kurt Jackson, how you doing? What an interesting life you lead.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's especially interesting when it's cold out, like it's been the last few months. I've spent a lot of time here locally in Paxton, where my home is. I live on top of a mountain where we have several broadcasting towers. And I've done quite a bit of work up there lately, which is not my preference. I'd rather be working inside, but it comes with the territory.
Okay, well, when you say you're working on these towers, these are the towers for the radio station. You own a few radio stations? That was my impression.
That's correct. The radio station that's near my house is an iHeart station, WSRS, and we were changing the antenna up there, and it took a little bit longer than we anticipated. The antenna complexity was undersold, and but it's a great product. And the cold weather kind of, made it so that we had to pick our days, and instead of taking 3 days, it took like 6 to 7 days.
Okay, so basically, you're a radio tuner, owner, and troubleshooter, basically, right?
Yeah, I'm a broadcast engineering consultant. I own Hamden Communications Corporation, and I've been in business since 1988.
Okay.
I incorporated about 25 years ago, and we design custom antenna systems, combining systems so that more than one station can work on an antenna. I work in television, radio, both AM and FM, long distance telephone, microwave. I do paging systems and two-way radio. We don't do any cellular work at all. We dabbled in it when it first went from analog to digital to help out. But primarily we support all the traditional services that go way back. I'm kind of old school, but we also do a lot of modern technology work, and we support the cellular business where they interact with us and co-locate with us on broadcast towers.
Tell me what you do on television. I didn't even know that. Go on. Please elaborate if you would.
Well, I've been working with television stations around the Northeast probably since about, the late 90s, I guess.
Okay.
There's a
what capacity do you work with them? Mechanical, technological?
I'll maintain their tower lights, their transmission lines, their antennas, sometimes a combiner filtering. I do quite a bit of work in Needham. If you're familiar with all the towers along 128, I am. And been working in those towers.
Well, you got Needham has channel 5 and channel 25, so I assume you work with both of those channels, right?
Yeah, there's like 11 stations there, actually.
Yeah,
there's quite a few.
At least those. Yeah. And then you got, I think any channel, I think it might be around in that neighborhood too. Wow. You cover.
I've worked for most of the. I've worked for most of the television stations in Boston one time or another. Okay. And I've worked for most of the FM and AM stations at one time or another. I'd say more than 80% of the stations in the Boston market I've done work for, and this goes ongoing for many years. And in television, typically they'll want to have two different companies available for emergencies. Myself might be a primary and somebody else might be a secondary, or depending on the type of work. The other company might be the primary and I might be the secondary, but we back each other up. And that gives the television stations, a little bit of comfort. A lot of the towers and antennas are owned by third parties. So we'll work for, companies, that cater to the television stations as a contractor. And sometimes there's another company involved in between. But I also do a lot of work directly for the TV stations in the studios with equipment that might be considered ancillary. News gathering, radio equipment, microwave that would link the signal from the studio to the television transmitter. For example, WBZ has been on Soldiers Field Road since, I think, 1940, and the tower is in Needham.
Okay.
Originally, it was on Soldiers Field Road, but that tower collapsed. I think in Hurricane Carol, 1954 or 5.
Okay.
So they've since built a new tower out Needham. So yeah, we're involved in all facets. Yeah.
You didn't build that. Did you build the tower in 19? You couldn't be that old, I wouldn't think.
No, no. I did demolish the tower that belonged there at the studio years ago. They thought they were going to move, but it didn't come to pass. So the tower's gone, but they're still there.
All right. What's the station that you own that Doc Siddell works at? Doc Siddell works at. He was my guest a few months ago.
Yeah, Doc Siddell is my midday man. He's a good person. I really have a lot of respect for him, and I consider him my programming director. And he's the one that brings in all the sales. He's the man of Webster. So.
Oh yeah.
And then we have another gentleman that does our overnights that works in Southbridge, and he does the overnight shift. And
is he the fireman?
He's a great guy. What's that?
Is he the fireman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I know. Doc told me about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
And then my morning guy is actually my original mentor. I met him when I was 14 years old.
Who would that be? Who would that be? Pray tell.
Yeah, well, I was probably doing something I wasn't supposed to with cable TV, and he worked for the cable company, and so he was very friendly, and I ran into him, and we became great friends, and now he works for me.
Well, who is this? Who is this person you speak of?
Oh, this is Raymond Weber, and he resides in West Springfield, Massachusetts. We both grew up probably about 4 or 5 streets apart in Agawam, and I was in a part of Agawam called Feeding Hills, and Feeding Hills is home of television channel 22, which has a lot of history. It was the first, I think it was the first UHF television in New England.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember.
Now it's an NBC affiliate today, right?
Yes, and I still continue to work for them. And when I was a kid, my dad used to bring me up there. My dad was first vice president and assistant general manager of a very large concern that sold industrial supplies. A lot of those supplies were related to the broadcasting industry. So my dad knew all these people, and he passed away when I was 9. And when I turned 18 and I went out looking for a job, my mom had a temporary job at an electronics place, and they all knew my dad. So I left on Friday high school, and I started my job there on Monday, and I told them I wanted minimum wage. I wanted to start at the bottom. I made all my own money. And when I left home at 18 or 19, when my mom decided to sell the house because it was getting a bit for her, I borrowed $600 from her, and that was about it. I mean, I paid her back many times over, but I started my business. Less than 5 years later, and I've done pretty well. I mean, there's been a few bumps in the road, but I've always done this type of work. I started in the two-way radio business before cell phones. Everybody used radios to communicate, plumbing companies, electricians, contractors, and we had relay towers. And before I even got into the commercial side of it, I was building ham radio towers as a kid, as a teenager.
Wow. Ham radios are
Right.
crazy. I love it. You can go. I mean, that was the thing before the cell phone. You needed a
Yeah,
license.
well-
You needed a license to operate it, but you could talk to people all over the world in about 400
Well,
different languages, as I recall.
Yeah, I'm a ham radio operator. Not too active, but I do support a lot of that. I figured that it gave a lot to me, so I give a lot back. And in our community of broadcast and communications engineers, there are amateur radio people at every turn. There's 880,000 amateur radio operators licensed in this country, I believe.
Wow.
That may have gone up or down. I mean, it's a hobby of older people, so a lot of people have passed, but it seems like there's a lot of advocacy to bring young hams into the I like to call them amateur radio operators. I think the word ham is a little outdated. It's from the 1930s.
Right,
It means
right.
to ham it up.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I remember
Yeah.
back in the summer of 1970, I went to this camp down on Cape Cod, and one of the activities they had was learning to work ham radio from the campgrounds, and then you could get licensed. I never did. I thought it would look fascinating, but it was one of the few activities that I didn't try. I don't even know why I didn't try it. It would have been crazy good, but I was only 10 and a half at the time. Maybe you had to be a certain age. Do you have to be a certain age to operate a ham radio?
No,
or
you
getting
don't.
a license, I mean?
There are ham radio operators as young as 5 years old.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't do it. I should have tried it. It looked fun. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't get along too well with some of the people there.
Well, they tried to give me my amateur radio license when I was like 11, and I just wasn't ready.
Yeah. It must be
I
a big
waited
test
till
you
I
have
was
to take.
18. Yeah, I waited till I was 18, so I've had my license 42 years now.
Okay. Well, tell me about now. You told me that you've been on TV before in Boston, and talked about your career. Is that right? And tell me about those appearances you made. I'm pretty sure you told me that. Correct?
You mean as far as getting publicity?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not like I was in front of a TV camera in a studio. It was more of a live action shot. My dad, I'd love to find it. My dad had a interview on Channel 22 in
Okay.
Agawam. And,
Okay.
that's probably the only real video of him that would exist.
Well, that's your dad. I'm talking about you, though.
No, I know. I'm giving you a little background.
Okay.
So, what happened with me is I've had interviews from various television stations, and I've also had a lot of helicopter video coverage of me putting up flags for the various sports teams in Boston that have won between the years 2007 and 2018.
There were a lot of championships during those years.
Yeah, I am the chief engineer for the roof of the John Hancock Tower in Boston. I'm the contractor for another company that has the management agreement, but I've been through several owners of that building. Currently, it's Boston Properties, and they're a very cordial group to work with. But because of that relationship, back when it was the John Hancock Insurance Company, now it's owned by a company in Canada called Manulife.
Okay.
During the
I heard of
John Hancock days, if you remember correctly, at Fenway Park, they had a giant sign, I think over the Green Monster. I'm not sure which direction. I think it's off to the left. But if you're at the stadium and you were looking towards the Prudential or the Hancock, they had that giant lit sign there for years.
Well, what I remember was the Citgo station. You're not talking about that, are you?
No, this is right at Fenway. It was right up on the top of the park, on the east side. And so because the John Hancock Insurance Company was so gung-ho about things like the marathon and the local sports, they were very, very, giving to that community, and they would spend a lot of money, promoting themselves alongside it. And so when the World Series in 2007 was getting to the point where it looked like they were going to win, when they had the pennant, they
Right.
called me up and they said, hey, the Red Sox would love to do something. Somebody had the idea of putting a flag up on top of the old John Hancock building. That's the building that has the pole with the colors underneath it that tell you the weather.
Okay.
Don't ask me to recite it. It's a
Don't have
You
to
know,
be excited. I mean, but you were there. You added to
no,
it,
no,
I
but
guess.
actually a rhyme that goes with it. You know, if you see flashing blue, it's something. If you see steady blue, and if you see red, it's something. If you see steady red, you have to look that one up and add it to the podcast here. But anyway, I was at the time doing work for Channel 5, WCVB, and the chief engineer is a really likable guy, Rick Zach.
Yep.
And I called him up and I said, you know, that John Hancock wants to put this flag up. They've already talked to the lead flagman, and he's going to come over. And, you know, we had this 80-pound flag. I think it was 30 by 50 feet. It actually was sewn together in the Somerville High School basketball stadium. That's that big, okay?
Okay.
And
Wow.
it might have been bigger. It seemed like it was bigger than that. Anyway, we dragged this flag up all these stairs, because if you know the old Hancock building, it's tapered at the top, so you have to go up all these zigzags after you get off the elevator for like, I don't know, 9 floors or something. Then up a submarine ladder. You got to go up in between all the arc lighting and, you know, all the bright lights that they use to flash that warning light, and then you get up onto the roof. And I built a rigging system to haul this flag up and down. We had to use 3/8 steel cable because it's quite a wind load, you know.
Yep.
So we learned a lot too. There was a couple of mistakes we made over the years, but that was the first flag. And Channel 5 flew their helicopter, and because we were having a little time, you know, with getting it all set up, they actually had to leave, go get some more fuel and come back, because sitting still in a helicopter eats a lot of fuel. But to make a long story short, there's a video on YouTube showing that, which I'll give you the information on.
Okay.
And then after that, I think that same year, Katy Perry sung at the 4th of July Esplanade
Okay.
at the half shell, and she synchronized her music to the guns going off, her song Fireworks, and we raised the flag right before that, I think.
This thing, she's not even an American. She's Canadian, but nevertheless, it's very patriotic.
And then once we took that flag down, we had to drape that flag over the side of the John Hancock building on Berkeley Street. And being 80 pounds, that one wasn't 80 pounds. That one was probably more like 30 pounds. It was nylon. And we had to straighten it out by putting ropes on the bottom and pulling them down to like the bushes and making it tight. But after that, we did I'm trying to think, we did a World Series flag actually in 2007, right after the pennant. So I guess we did 2 of those back to back, you know, a couple weeks apart. We put that flag after we were done with it. And remember, this is over the parade route. So the parade route is going down with all the duck boats.
Yep.
And we've got that sucker up there, and we're trying to keep it from getting caught in the steps that we climbed to get up the tower, the pole. And so, you know, we've had to come up with some systems to keep that from happening. Once that came down, that got hung in a atrium 100 feet above the concourse in the Clarendon building of the John Hancock Insurance Company. So that was more dangerous than being 650 feet in the air, putting the flag up above the Mass Pike, you know?
Wow.
So after we did that, we did a Celtics flag in 2008. And of course, that was in the winter. So
Now, you're talking about at the Fleet Center, right? We hang it on the rafters, correct?
No. We hung these flags in the atrium. I think one of the flags did go...
Wait a minute, the atrium at Chestnut Hill?
No, at the Clarendon building, which is across from the Hancock Tower and in between the Berkeley building. There's 3 buildings at the John Hancock Insurance Company.
Okay.
That are in a row, if you look them up. Anyway, we did the Celtics flag, and one of those flags actually did go over to, over to the, escapes me, over next to the expressway there where they have the games.
Okay.
And anyway, after that, we did a Bruins flag in 2011. That's probably the best flag I ever put up.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
And by
night.
the way, because of the exposure, the Boston Globe does a series of books that they come out with every year for highlighting the series, the championship or whatever it was.
Yep.
And in 2007, we ended up on the back cover of
Sweet.
their little edition that they came out, a half-inch thick soft cover book. But the flagman from the Red Sox had it staged, and so I ended up on the backside, and all you can see is my gloves. He was the one and he was just sitting at the bottom. He didn't really do much, you know. He just wanted to be there to get the notoriety.
Sweet.
But the 2011 Bruins flag, that I'm in a hardcover book by the Boston Globe, and I actually was. Let's see what happened. A friend of mine, one of the guys that was working with me, his wife was in the mall in Attleboro, and it was a sports memorabilia store, and they had these giant picture frames with pictures in them, and one of them was of me, and so I bought it. It was like maybe 2 foot by 3 foot, and then she called me up, or I went down there. I saw an even bigger one. I should have bought it. It was like the size of something you put behind a couch. You know, it was really big.
Okay.
So that was kind of neat. It's got a plaque, you know, underneath it and all that.
Well, guess what? Kurt? We're in the final 5 minutes of the show. I hope you had fun talking to me. You're a fascinating dude.
Yep, and then we did a bunch of Patriots ones too, and we did them all the way up to 2018. It was 1 year.
You'll be doing one this year too.
Huh?
I hope you'll be doing another one.
Well, unfortunately, Manulife Insurance out of Canada that owns the John Hancock Insurance building, you know, company, they're no longer interested in doing it. They've pulled that sign down off of Fenway, and they've retracted all their interoperability or interactivity with the sports teams, as far as I know.
Okay. Well, listen, we're in the final 5 minutes of the show. I hope you had fun talking to me. It was definitely a great day that we set this up. I know we weren't even sure we were going to get the interview in because you weren't sure your equipment worked, but I'll tell you what, I think it worked better. You must know equipment because your Zoom on your end is coming out clearer than a lot of the people that I interview. Perfectly clear.
Super. Yeah,
start to finish, perfectly clear video, perfectly clear audio. So
awesome.
All right. So I hope you have fun talking to me.
Yeah. So I'll send you some links to the Facebook stuff that you can see all these flags I was talking about.
Okay. But in the meantime,
put a clip of it. You know?
What I'd like you to do is give a few shouts out to people that are going to see the show, because when we get it up online, it's going to be shared with tons of people. Lots of people are going to watch it, and then we'll wrap the show up with my snap and the way we began it. So go ahead.
Oh, you want me to give shout out to people? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give a shout out to Doc Siddell from WQVR.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll give a shout out to Raymond Weber, my mentor, and he's with Northeast Weather. And give a shout out to Steve Lavoie. He's our overnight guy at WQVR. He's the one that does all the rock and roll. He used to work at WAAF, by the way, as an intern years ago.
I had Carter Allen on the show a couple of months ago. You may remember that, or I don't know if you know that. Carter Allen, the iconic DJ who's now at WZLX.
Yes, I know who he is. Yep, he's a good guy. Doesn't he do like the Beatles special or something, or used to?
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. All right, look, we're gonna wrap the show up. Will you do me a favor? Stick around, and my tech guy will take a pic of us for Facebook, and I'll tag you in it. Are you okay to do that?
Sounds good.
All right, folks. Another great Topic Time show in the books. Wrapping off and snapping off. Plenty more where this came from. So on we go.